Kunsan, Jeollabuk-do Province, located at the junction where the final streams of Kumgang River meet the Yellow Sea. The region, encompassing the grain fields of Kimje and Mangyong, was the main grounds for Japanese looting of rice in the 1930s. Kunsan transformed itself into a modern city by serving as the main shipping point of Korean rice. But for the majority of ordinary people, life under colonial rule was worse than ever before. CHAE Man-shik called the lives of these people, defeated under the pillage of Japanese colonialism, murky waters.
After a long flow from the remote mountain areas, turning around towns and meandering fields, the Kum at last ends its long journey with the turbid waters, including every unrealized worldly dream by flowing into the West Sea. Around the southern bank of the estuary, where the Kum flows into the West Sea, is a big port city known as Kunsan, the setting of this story.
We visited Kunsan, the backdrop of the novel Murky Waters, with poet Lee Bok-woong. Lee erected a monument at the site of the novel. This pier is called Chebo Sanchang because people say the shape of the single stream of the river piercing into the land resembles a hair lip. The sad story of Murky Waters begins as the character Jung enters Kunsan through this hair-lipped pier.
Midujang, a main site of the novel. Mr. Jung becomes involved in rice exchange, a form of speculation using the market price of rice. He loses his entire assets overnight and enters the path of destruction. Chung, an ordinary man, was a representative sample of the Korean public who were crumbling under the colonial rule.
The floating pier was constructed in order to loot more quantities of rice out of Korea into Japan.
이곳이 1930년대 우리의 농촌 자본인 쌀을 신속하게 반출하기 위해서 만들어진 부장교입니다. 1930년에 조선경제 발전이라는 논리를 앞세워서 우리 민족의 삶의 원천을 빼앗고 수탈해 갔지만은 오히려 수탈의 방법이 교묘해서 일본이 혜택을 입고 산다고까지 생각할 정도였습니다.
The Japanese had taken over most of the downtown area centered around Midujang and equipped the area with all sorts of amenities for their convenience. Many of the Japanese lived in or around Wolmyeondong. The antiquated Japanese-style houses give us a picture of their wealthy lives. In stark contrast, more than 60,000 Koreans lived in the straw-roofed huts of Gaebokdong or Tunbae-mi. One can read the weary life of the commoner during those times by looking at the rows and rows of dense housing, despite their updated rooftops.
이곳이 정주사의 딸인 초봉이가 근무했던 제중당 약국터입니다. 이때까지만 해도 초봉이는 착하고 순진하기 이를 데 없는 시골 처녀였습니다.
Chobong, the daughter of Mr. Jung and protagonist of the novel, has a number of ill-fated encounters here in Kunsan. They include the banker, Ko Tae-soo, the pharmacy owner, Chae-ho, and Tae-soo's friend, Hyung-bo, who each corrupt Chobong's life, one after another. Chobong treads painfully through her life, being tossed back and forth amid these men. Visible across the street from Chejungdang Pharmacy was Kumho Hospital, where Seung-jae, the object of Chobong's affection, worked. But Chobong is practically sold off to marry the lewd Ko Tae-soo because of her destitute family. And even her own prudent life gets swallowed up in murky waters. Chobong's unfortunate life continues as she becomes the concubine of Park Chae-ho, then the unwilling live-in mate of Hyung-bo.
But CHAE Man-shik named the last chapter Prelude. He never let go of the hope that one day, clean water will sweep away the debris gathered by the murky waters. The most controversial novelist of modern Korean literature, CHAE Man-shik was born in 1902 in Kunsan, Jeollabuk-do Province. He lived through the Japanese occupation and died in a divided country. With his keenly critical viewpoints and frequent use of satire and irony, Chae wrote more than 120 works of long and short novels, plays, and essays, including Murky Waters, Peace Under Heaven, and The Passion of Gold.
탕류는 군산을 배경으로 한 소설로서 일제강점 시 우리 민족 자본과 농촌 자본을 수탈해가는 한 시대의 사회상 또는 민족의 애환을 조명하여 표현한 작품입니다. 탕류로 말미암아서 군산은 근현대 문학사 전면에 나오게 되었고 탕류와 CHAE Man-shik 그리고 군산을 한데 묶어 생각하는 계기가 되었습니다.
Kunsan appeared in the forefront of modern Korean literature through CHAE Man-shik's Murky Waters. Several decades later, it has become a vibrant city. But the murky waters, flowing through the gaps of time, still sing of the sorrowful history that can never be washed away.